I'll start with Lila. What are the ways the ICSCR, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, there's no complaint procedure. What are the ways that you can monitor and see that this convention is being enforced?
Okay, well, first, I think I just want to back up a second, because when I first found that we met in our groups, a lot of us were really unfamiliar with the covenants. We'd maybe heard of them by name or had a general idea of what they stood for, but we didn't know the specific details of the articles, how they could be used, how the committees were structured, and what sort of the just general enforcement mechanisms were there. So there was a very steep learning curve before we even got to that question, which we just began to touch upon. So what we learned from our resource persons in the group was that the Committee on Economic and Social and Cultural Rights calls upon any country that has not only signed the covenant, but actually ratified it. It's a two-step procedure. So first they have to ratify it, can then be called upon to submit a country report maybe once every 5 or 6 years, and they don't necessarily even have to submit that report to the UN. But once they do submit that report, if they do, one of the sort of advocacy or monitoring efforts that the NGOs that we work with through the Source Foundation can do is there's such a thing called a shadow report, where NGOs will look at the same sort of criteria that their country's government is reporting on and do their own evaluation. Or if not doing that, just look at what the country is saying. What are the pitfalls? What are the shortfalls? What are the places where discrimination is occurring or vulnerable populations aren't seeking what they need? And they can do advocacy and try to get media attention around those issues, hopefully go to the committee and the UN itself to submit those reports. We also learned that there's a special rapporteur on the right to health, as well as on several other rights. He's Paul Hunt, and he's affiliated with the University of Essex. And you can also submit reports and complaints to him and try to get attention to abuses to the right to health to go through his special unit. He may be doing country visits. You should find out when they are if he's in your country and try to meet with him and get attention to that, because he can elaborate upon what we learned is called the general comment, which is an elaboration of that covenant, which specifically guarantees the right to physical and mental health.